What's it like playing at the San Siro? I've been there once.
I love it.
Spectacular.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
This stadium is special. If I had to choose one stadium that I love and I would play always, would be the San Siro, because it was my first big stadium, and I just loved to play there every second, really.
The official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.
Paul, we're joined by Mateo Kovacic, someone with an incredible footballing CV. You know, we're going through his career earlier, researching for this, and you realise he's played with some of the best players and at some of the biggest clubs. I mean, that must be exciting for you to sit and talk to somebody with that CV.
Yeah, I was super excited we signed him in the summer. You know, 4 Champions Leagues already. Not many people that can say that. You know, his time at Chelsea. You know, I've always felt when I've watched Mateo that, especially with Croatia and Inter Milan, Real Madrid, that he was better further forward in the midfield. You know, I think a lot of people pigeonholed him at Chelsea because he was played as a 6 defensive midfield role. I've always seen him driving through the lines. So it'll be interesting to ask him about that time and what he feels his best position is as well. And obviously, moving from Zagreb to Inter Milan, which must have been huge at the time, and how he integrated himself into that changing room, and then from Inter Milan to Real Madrid into a changing room full of superstars. You know, and it must have been tough.
He is a fantastic player, isn't he? Take the ball in tight spaces. He always seems to keep possession. He's a really, really good footballer. It's interesting with Croatia in general, the population of less than 4 million, but they punch well above the weight and they produce players of real quality, don't they?
They do, and he has top quality. I know, you know, Luka Modric, it was asked, I think, about 6 months ago, just before the World Cup, when he retires, how are Croatia going to handle it? And the one player he picked out was Mateo Kovacic to take his reign. So that's something to live up to, but just shows you what his teammates think about him as well.
It's not a bad recommendation to have from Luka Modric, is it? He was one of the best players we've seen, aside from Messi and Ronaldo, who kind of they're kind of freaks of nature. He's got to be one of the top 2 or 3 players of the last sort of 10-15 years.
I think as a midfielder, he's the top midfielder in Europe and world football in the last 10 years, and you know, so for Mateo to play alongside him, learn off him as well. But to have that acknowledgement from Luka Modric isn't a bad thing.
What have you made of his start at City?
I think he's been fantastic, you know, and what we said at the start about integrating into changing rooms, you know, it looks as if he's been here, where historically it takes players a little time to settle under Pep. The pre-season games and the first few games before he picked up his little injury, he looked as if he'd been here for 3 or 4 years, and you know, that's high praise, because we've seen other players have openly said that it's took them time to adjust to it, but he comes in and looks as if he's been here for years.
Okay, here it is, the official Manchester City podcast, in conversation with Mateo Kovacic.
Picked up by Sterling. Sterling advances. Great tackle, Kovacic. Brilliant from him.
I want to start right at the beginning. This is what we do with most of our guests on the podcast. How was life for you as a child, and how did you get into football?
Straight away, I think I loved the ball since my first days, and when I started to go to nursery, one of the kids realized that I'm pretty much better than the other ones, and he told his mother that there is a guy that is very good. So the mothers speak between each other, and then my mother took me to the first training session, and since then, yeah, I stayed in football. And I think now the kids, they ask us questions, what would you do if you want to be a football player? I really have not the answer, because this was like the only option in life, and thanks to God it got realized.
When you say you loved the ball, was it just a natural connection with it? I mean, you can actually see that in the way that you play the game today. You know, you love the ball, you love possession of the ball, and you keep hold of it. But as a child, was it just this very natural connection to that?
I think so, yeah. It's just natural. Everywhere I went, the ball was with me. Even when I went to bed, I had sleep with football, so it really was the only option and the only thing I loved, having the ball, playing with the ball, and like I said, it's really a gift of God to be able to provide for my family, playing the sport and the thing you love.
Was there a particular moment in your development where you thought, I can do this full time, professionally, and make a good living? Was there a game or somebody, a coach in your life, or was there a moment where you felt that?
I never felt like at exact moment that I could live of it, because I never thought that football is my job. It was just the love, and I never thought that one day I could be living of it. Just to play it and to be professional in some way, and then let's see how it goes. But luckily it went very well, and that you can be able to, like you said, to provide for your family. Doing the thing you love is really a pleasure and an amazing feeling.
Does that sound like anything, your experience with that natural love of football and that kind of thing? Is that how it was for you?
I think what Mateo said there, he'd never seen it as a job.
True,
It was a thing, and it's the very same coming up in Scotland. I knew nothing different than playing football. That was everything I wanted to do, and obviously going down to Arsenal as a young kid. Even then, I didn't see it as a job. I just loved doing what I was doing. And football, it's a special thing because it brings out different things in different people, and to be able to go and do it for a living, it's something that's special, and you never take for granted.
So you moved from Croatia to Inter Milan at quite a young age. What was that experience like? That must be quite tough.
Yeah, first of all, I moved from Austria, where I was born, to Croatia when I was 12, and then when I was 18, I thought I would not move so quick, to be honest, because I loved the life in Zagreb and to be close to my family and friends. But when I was 18, the club decided that the offer was good and that I had to move on. So I went to Inter, which is never easy for a young kid to leave the family, everybody, and go play in a league where the pressure was straight on. But really enjoyed my time there, and like I said before, luckily it went all good.
What was that like, going from Zagreb to a club like Inter Milan, walking into that changing room the first day as an 18-year-old?
Difficult, because you come as a kid, you watch these players on television, then I came straight in, and it was the last day of the winter transfer window, so there was no preparation, straight in and straight to the games, and was not easy. I remember my agent when we came into the room and we signed and everything, he just told me, now go into your room and cry, which I said, and it really happened. I just went into my room and all the emotions came out, because it's nice to go to a big club, but still you have emotions for your friends, family, and you will now not see them for a long time. So it's not easy, but it's football and you have to move on.
What's it like playing at the San Siro? I've been there once as a fan.
It.
Spectacular.
I love it.
Yeah.
This stadium is special. If I had to choose one stadium that I love and I would play always, would be the San Siro, because it was my first, let's say, big stadium, and I just loved to play there every second, really.
Yeah, it's a beautiful stadium as well, isn't it?
It is. City is beautiful. The club is amazing. It's really, and the people as well. The Italians, they are so passionate, and really, I really loved it there. Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask you, because Pep often says, Pep played in Italy for a short period, obviously played in Spain, and he says in England the pressure is not the pressure, but the intensity of the press and the fans and the culture around football is less here. He actually prefers it. It's a bit more relaxed, and would you share that, given you've been in Real Madrid?
I agree with him 100%. Here is the people, that's so nice. They respect you for you are the football player, they respect you for that. And in Italy, it's a lot of pressure. If you don't play good, you are not allowed to go to restaurants. I mean, you are allowed, but better don't do it. Better stay at home. And if there is a tough moment, the fans, they can come to the training ground and have a little bit of argument with the players, which is okay.
Did that happen?
Yeah. Because I was at Inter, where it was a rough period.
Yeah.
We were not so good in the league, finishing 7th, 6th, 5th. Inter was used to win, and so it's not easy. But I grew up with that, with this pressure. You have to be always on top, and that's how it is. So
Did
nothing
you ever
strange.
Because you were at City when City was struggling a little bit.
Yeah,
certainly more than
that's been
seventh. If we'd have been 7th in the league, we would have been very happy.
Swam the channel.
Did you have any fans coming to Main Road and having it out with you, or?
Yeah, a few times. I mean, I remember the old training ground at Platt Lane. It was a community pitch. It wasn't even the club's own training pitch.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if we'd lost on the Saturday, the fans used to come on the Monday and literally stand from here to there with the training pitch, and let you know exactly what they thought about you.
Good.
You were one of them, I think.
I was that.
Yeah.
So we look at, we went through your CV before, obviously in research for this, and you've had quite an amazing career. And obviously, you after Inter Milan, you go to Real Madrid. What's the pressure of that like? Because everyone talks about Real Madrid as being kind of probably the biggest in terms of pressure. Did you find that? Was it the intensity?
You feel the pressure in training as well. Really, it was like this club is all about winning. It was like winning, training, everything, but you need to win. And maybe in my career, I would have chosen a different way probably if I need to go it all again, because I went straight from big club pressure. I didn't have like for me, for young players, they need to grow, to go maybe to a league that is not so tough, let's say, and then go step by step. I went from step 1, step
Bang.
5 straight, but it's what it is. But yeah, the pressure there was really big, and I luckily at that time we won everything in 3 years, so it was nice. But when the moment is tough, you can feel that the pressure is on, and the stadium is as well. I think you saw it now as well when you played.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really
so loud in there, isn't it? Yeah.
But I think, to be honest, now City has this like aura a little bit like Madrid used to have it in these years where they won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. I think City can get to a stage where it's the same. Now when you also play not perfect, you win the games because you are just you have like
the experience.
You just have the power, and City is winning a lot in the recent years, so I think now they can do the same in Europe as well. I think to dominate. Why not?
Some of the best atmospheres over the last couple of seasons have been Champions League nights as well. I think the City fans realise that they're there now. I think previously, because of where we were and where we came to,
it's like we didn't belong.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I think the fans. Yeah.
I think when you play at the Bernabeu, you can tell when it's a league game, when it's a Champions League game. It's big difference.
And what about Ronaldo, playing with Ronaldo? Because obviously he's so good. Yeah. Is it a case when you're playing with somebody of that quality, it's almost like cheating a little bit, isn't it? Because he's so good. Is that what it felt as a player with him?
It was like these players there in these decisive moments, they are there, We are all very good players at this level, but there are players that Haaland, De Bruyne, just in these moments where you need them, they are there. And I think this makes a difference from a top player to this kind of players.
Well, the big players, the top players turn up.
Yeah,
in the big moments.
Just incredible. Yeah, he was just the hunger to score, to win, for me was unbelievable, because he came from Manchester where he won everything, come to Madrid where he won a lot, and then to have the hunger every day to improve more and to try harder. This is what impressed me the most, because that's unbelievable.
What's he like as a person?
Amazing, really great guy, always there to help, and I had very good relationship with him, so I can just speak in a positive way.
And Luka Modric as well. We were talking before, player, I mean, my admiration for him is just like through the roof. He's a beautiful footballer to watch. Close friend of yours, godfather to your child, I believe. So just talk to me about what he means to Croatian football. I mean, he's an icon of the game. Yeah,
he's the biggest player that we had. It's just because also from which situation he came, the war when was in Croatia. He experienced all the tough moments in Croatia, and then that made him stronger. So you can see that in the tough moments he's always there, and he comes out stronger, and he's really a role model for all of us, because to come from the bottom to the top is never easy, and he showed that it's possible with hard work and being humble and staying humble.
And for me, consistently over the last 10 years, he's been the best, the best midfielder in world football. And I don't want to embarrass you, but I read an interview with Luka Modric just before the World Cup, and they were asking him about when he's going to retire from the national team and where they're going to go from there, and the first thing he said was Mateo Kovacic is the player that's going to take us on to the next level. That must have been fantastic.
I mean, really our relationship is amazing, because when I came to a national team when I was 18, he straight took me, I was by his side, and then I had the luck to share the same club in Madrid, where we spent amazing 3 years, and the family is connected, and we really have a great relationship. So
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's really nice to have such a big role model and next to you,
He was the best player in the Premier League when he was at Tottenham, and he used to play in a quite high midfield position. Then he went to Spain. He was the best player in La Liga in a deeper role. I mean, that takes some doing, doesn't it? It's the two best leagues in the world. You're the best player, and you're playing in different roles. I mean, it just shows how good he is, I think.
It's also, he put now a lot of pressure on us in Croatia, because Modric is now the mark, you have to be like Modric and better. So it's not easy for the young midfielders, for me, to now have a big pressure you need to reach this level.
But that's good, isn't it? Stretching,
it's good as well, because
it
pushes you, so you can take it in both ways. But like I said, it's a great role model for me, and to try to be as close as possible I can is a good achievement, and a big achievement.
What is it about Croatian football? I come from Scotland, small country, small population, and we never qualify for anything. Croatia, small country, small population, but the talent that you produce is phenomenal.
Into finals of World Cups, and a population of less than 4 million people. Why is it?
I don't know. We have a part of the big talent. A part of that we have it. It's just the desire and the love to play for our country. Really, when now we play in 1 month again, and we have big games coming up to qualify for the Euros, and like the excitement to go there, to hug your friends, to meet each other is just unbelievable, and we really appreciate every time we are together, and we love to play for our country. So apart from the talent that, thanks to God, we have, I think also the fighting spirit and desire to play for a country.
From the outside looking in, it looks like it's a club atmosphere,
a
club mentality, and not a national team.
It's true. When we are leaving the national team, you are happy that obviously you come back to the club, but you are sad that you go away.
Is there a kind of description you would give of a typical Croatian footballer? How would you describe that? Technically gifted, yeah.
Technically, the previous one were technically gifted, not much of defensive work, like free roll, number 10, and good passes, assists. This was like a proper football player. But how football is changing, you don't have the number 10 anymore. It's difficult to play as number 10. You have to run now. You have to be defensively good. So it changed a little bit. So like, I think that new generation is quite aggressive and technically still good, but more aggressive and more towards running, because that's what you need in football now.
And speaking of Croatian footballers, we've got another one here, Joško Vardiol. What do you make of him? I was approached actually by one of the biggest journalists in the UK when we signed him, and he said, you've just signed the best centre-back in world football. I mean, how good do you think he can be?
I think City's that did an amazing job signing Joško, especially for the kind of football City plays. He's amazing, being left foot, strong, aggressive, fast. I think he has everything, and if he will have the head, which he has, because I can tell in training and everywhere that he is strong mentally, so he can dominate the next 10 years easily, I think.
Yeah. He's playing left back a little bit at the minute. Do you see him as a centre half ultimately?
Yeah, I think so. He's playing like, when we play 3 at the back, he plays on the left side, but he can play in the middle as well, because he's technically good. So he can learn a lot from John, I think, because John is amazing. Yeah, how he moves in the middle, and as being a centre back, it's never easy to come to the midfield position. How he does it.
He's made it look easy though, hasn't he?
Yeah. It's true.
Pep said Pep was talking to me about this the other day about John Stones, and he said it's because he's open-minded. He said I came to him with an idea, and the reason he's been able to do it is because he's open-minded, and he was open to trying this new role. Yeah.
And you can tell John is a fantastic guy, and that's why he's so long at the club, because it's never easy to be at the club long, and when you met them, you can actually feel why that is so, because he's humble, works hard, and like you said, open-minded for every idea the coach gives him.
What have you made of Pep so far? Because I noticed when we were on tour in the summer, he was in your ear more than any other player, which he tends to do with new players. When you go on pre-season, the new players, you can tell he's in their ear during training and stuff. How have you found him?
It's amazing and tough, because a lot of new things, and I would have loved to come at an earlier age to learn, but it's never too late to learn. I think like that. So I'm happy and that I can learn from him and what he tells you. I would love that somebody told me a few years ago, but yeah, now I can still learn, and it's really, you can tell that he is fantastic.
How have you found the move to Manchester? Not just Manchester, but
The city
Yes.
and
Yeah,
I mean,
but from a football point of view, because this is a big compliment to you, because historically over the last few years, new signings, it's took them maybe 6 months, maybe a season sometime to actually settle in here to the style of football. But from the first game in pre-season to the first few games of the season with the before the injury you picked up, you look as if you've been
yeah,
here
you took to it straight
for
away.
Yeah, I
2, 3,
really-
4,
yeah.
5
I
seasons.
really enjoyed from the first moment. It was tough the first few days to what he wants, don't move there, go there. So I like sometimes to run a lot on the pitch, go there, but he told me be more calm, easy, don't run too much. So it was like a little bit of surprise for me as well. And it's nice. The club, you can tell from the first day, is amazing. The people are great, and the city is also nice, although there is a little bit more rain than in London. But
Yeah.
I enjoy it really. Now it's just to settle in. Finally, we found the house, and now to find a school for my little one. So it takes a few months to settle in, but I feel really comfortable and nice here.
That is nice to hear that you like Manchester, because whenever we sign a player from London in particular, well, London being, you know, one of the great cities in the world, you do worry sometimes, but it's nice to hear that
We
you like
worried
it.
as well.
Oh,
My
right,
wife
yeah, yeah.
worried, but I could miss the opportunity to come to a big club as Manchester City is and to be trained by one of the greatest managers ever. So I think I had to grab that opportunity and to be a better version of myself.
What's your perception so far of our medical team? Because there was a bit of data done that we lost players to the least amount of days last year through injury, which is not by chance. There's obviously a lot of science and research that goes into this. What's your experience of that side of things so far?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Really. I had now, unfortunately, a little injury where I missed 3 to 4 weeks, and for me it's never easy to come back. I don't know how was with you when you were injured. Me, I always struggle a little bit when I come back.
And you've got to be careful, because you want to come back too soon
Yeah,
sometimes. And
You want to rush it, and
you end up
yeah.
picking up more injuries. And I think sometimes the medical team have just got to pull you. You've got to trust them,
Yeah.
haven't you?
You've
That's the
got
big
to-
thing, is having that trust between what they're telling you and what your mind's telling you at the
True.
same time, because you want to come back as quick as you can.
But we managed to have, because Pep has this small squad, high in quality but small in number. But the key to that is making sure that they're fit and available to get on the pitch. But
No,
we seem to be able to do that,
They
don't
are
we?
amazing, really. And as soon as we finished with the national team, when I opened my phone, first message was from the physios.
Wow.
How did you felt? Is all good? If you need something, come back the next day to check you. So really, they take care of it. And also the guys from the nutritionist as well, they are amazing. The cooks are amazing. So really, we have everything here to be well trained and healthy.
So we look after our players well here, don't we?
Very well.
Good.
Very well.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
It never used to be like that.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was going to say, it's obvious thing to say, but it's changed so much
Yeah.
from your time.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal, the change in it. I mean,
Yeah.
back my first spell at Manchester City, there was the manager, the goalkeeping coach, the assistant manager,
I would love to see how it
And the
was
physio.
before.
and the physio. That was it.
4 members of staff.
There was 4 members of
Yeah.
staff. Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
And the load that the physio, Roy Bailey, God bless him, you know, what a guy. He had to look after the full first team squad on his own,
Incredible.
you know. But then towards the end of my career, it was when the nutrition, sports science
No.
started coming in a little bit more. But I was too old by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you have one physio for one player.
One
so
player,
sometimes
yeah.
It's like changed a lot.
Yeah.
We have some questions that we ask every guest. The first one I wanted to ask you was, if you could change one thing about football, what would it be? Now, when we first started asking players this, it was around the rules of the game, but actually we've just expanded this now to just anything in football. If there's one thing, I mean, it's a great industry. You know, you said before, it's not a job to you. It's a vocation. You love it. But if there was one thing you could change, what would it be?
It's a tough question.
Very tough,
Yeah.
because I would nothing.
You just love it.
I just what should I change? I mean, it's just developed a lot. I think and it's all. I think it's too much detail sometimes. Like when they show the video clips, it's like, why didn't you move there? So I think it's too much analysis sometimes, but it's like what it is. It's just I think back at the time it was not so much.
No, it used to be. We at the time thought it was information overload.
Yeah.
You know, there was too much information going into your head to actually try and take out onto the pitch at the same time. Where I just preferred to be quite basic.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't too many things going on in
Play
your
with
head.
instinct.
Just know your job. Do bits of your job, but play when you go out there. Play with the instinct that you've been brought up with.
But I think in the media, there is an over-analysis now, isn't there? But that's because I think that's because the interest in football runs so deep.
It's so
There's no amount of content that satisfies fans. I mean, it's why we're all sat here doing what we're doing today. But it's like that. So yeah, I understand that.
They can find a mistake now in every
anything.
situation.
Yeah. And that must be quite frustrating.
Yeah.
We've actually got a question from someone on social media who said, is there somebody in sport, so either football or another sport, a young person who we should be aware of who's going to make a big impact at some point in the future?
These are tough questions.
Is there a young Croatian maybe, or
I have in mind one guy that is really good and can be. Joško is still young, I think, so he can.
He counts.
I think he can really dominate in European football and take, especially in Croatia, centre backs to on another level, because we always were talented playing from the back, but he has something special and how he comes into the middle. So I think he can be, for Croatian people, the guy.
So he can almost change the dynamic of a Croatian defender.
For sure.
Because that happens, doesn't it? Young people are going to look at him and they're going to then style their Garrett game on him.
Especially being a left-footed, I think they're always so special.
Yeah.
Left-footed players, especially centre backs. When he plays on the left, he sees the whole pitch, so he can really be, and he will be for sure.
We've also got a question left from a previous guest. A few in there. Just pick one out of this bowl, and see what that question is.
What do you like about Calvin Phillips?
Okay.
Guess who asked that question?
Yeah.
Well, I cannot guess. Him probably.
That was left by Calvin. Yeah. So what's your early impression of him? What do you make of him as a person?
Top guy.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, from the first moment. When I saw him, he's such a nice guy, and actually I told him I watched his movie on Amazon, I think.
Yes.
He has one.
Yeah.
And you can see how humble he is, and as well, like everybody. I mean, when I watch him, I see myself as well. How you work hard to come to such a big club as City, and sometimes people underestimate it. But yeah, it's football, and you can see he's just keeping going, and he's a great guy and a great footballer.
Another question we had on social media is, who's the best player you've ever played against?
Against?
Yeah.
Probably Messi. I need to tell you.
It's not a bad answer, is it?
No,
I think. But also when I played against City, Kevin is exceptional. I think he's, in terms of midfielder, attacking, decisive, and there is no one better for sure in the last I don't know how many years. So I think these two players are amazing. Yeah.
What was your perception of City before you came here? You know, because you obviously played against them a lot, watched them a lot. What do you think? What are other players saying about our team? I'd love to know that.
Like for me, it was always so difficult to play because you don't see the ball a lot.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you got the ball, there are 2-3
all
players, which I love sometimes because this is my strength, to come out of pressure. And so for me, in some way, it was good to play against City because I like when players attack me, but I didn't see the ball a lot against them because they are moving everywhere and keeping the ball so good. So always I was thinking, would be nice to
play in that
to play there sometimes. Yeah, now I have the pleasure to be here. Yeah.
Finally then, can you leave a question for our next guest? We're not going to tell you who it is, but it's someone connected to football, connected to City. If you could just ask them anything, what would it be?
Is it a player or not?
It is a player on this occasion, yeah.
It's a tough question. But now we had the questions with kid, like what's the biggest advice you would give to young footballers. So probably
Fantastic.
that, yeah.
Great stuff.
But not in terms of football, in terms of like person, you know, not just football advice, like more how to be humble and behave as a person.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Mateo Kovacic, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us on the Man City podcast.
Thank you.
Great to have you on.
Thank you very much.
Kovacic comes forward for the Blues. It's a good run from Kovacic. And he just ran into a blind alley. This year's are very much in front of him.
Paul, that was a genuine pleasure to talk to Mateo there. I really enjoyed that one. How did you feel after that?
Yeah, loved every minute of it. And look, we all know what a fantastic footballer he is, but what a genuine, intelligent guy he is as well. And you know, some of his answers, it's very, very clear that as much as his CV is amazing, the trophies that he's won, but he just clearly loves playing football.
I liked the fact he was asking you questions as well. It was like really getting you involved. He seemed like he had a genuine interest in what your experience as a professional footballer was like, but also how football and Manchester City has changed in that period in between.
It is, and when he was talking about obviously the medical staff, nutrition, and I think he was genuinely interested what it was like when we used to have one physio, the goalkeeping coach, assistant manager, and the manager. And he actually touched on it. He said, I would have loved to have seen that. So you can tell that look, football's been his life. He talks about it from the very start, but he just wants to soak everything in.
And he told us in no uncertain terms that Joško Vardiol is the future of well, he was talking in sort of Croatian defender terms, but probably in world defender terms.
Yeah, and look, I think we've seen it in the World Cup before he came to the club. What we've seen a little bit of him so far, he's at 21 years old. You know, he's going to be an absolute superstar. Yeah,
really impressive guy, like you say. Really enjoyed that one. That was probably one of my favourite episodes. What do you think his City career, what the future for him looks like now? Then, do you think, for Kovacic?
Yeah, I love watching him play. I do. And, I think we said at the very start in the intro that I felt he was limited a little bit at Chelsea from what I'd seen of him before into Milan, Real Madrid, and obviously I watched him a lot with Croatia and playing that role a little bit more further. And he touched on it himself. You know, he likes taking the ball in tight spaces. He likes driving at people, and that's only going to give Man City a different dimension again, because we all know how teams like to sit back against us, defend deep, want to stay in there, and he's the one player that we've got that can drive, as well as seeing that pass between the lines. He can break the lines for us as well, and he's a super talented footballer.
I liked the stuff he said about Pep, almost saying to run less and be smarter. Pep has a very clear way of doing it. There's that great clip, of course, of Henry when he explains that Pep came to Barca. He ran to the other side of the pitch and scored a goal, and Pep took him off at half-time. Yeah. You know, he's thinking he's done a great thing, he scored a goal, but because he wasn't in the area of the pitch that the overall team, you know, the pattern of the team dictates, he took him off. And it was a bit like that. Kovacic was saying, I was quite surprised sometimes by Pep saying, don't do this, do this. But Pep has just a very specific plan, doesn't he?
He does, and it must be so difficult. And I think that's his short City career so far. That's why he's been so impressive for me, because we touched on it in the podcast. He looks as if he's been here for about 2 or 3 years. You know, and also interesting what he was saying. He's 29 now. Everything he's won. He says he wished that he played under Pep Guardiola and came to Man City about 5 or 6 years earlier, because the different player he would have been by now. But
every day is a school day, and he's still got time to develop his game, hasn't he? He never stopped learning, do you, as a footballer?
No, you don't. And when you're super talented, he's just not a good footballer. You can clearly see he's an intelligent guy. You know, and the information he'll be getting by Pep and the coaching staff, he'll be soaking it all in.
I do like that you said how quickly he'd adapted, because when we were on pre-season tour, it was an immediate. He just looked like he'd been there for so long, basically.
I remember the first game watching it, and literally, as you said, he looked as if he'd been there for about 3 years. And I think everybody, you know, Man City fans, big signing, they were watching and see how he's going to settle in, and straight away I just thought, wow.
Yeah, great stuff. Thank you so much for joining us as well,
I loved
Paul.
it. Thank
you. Really enjoyed that. And thank you for listening at home to the Man City podcast as well. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever it is you do your podcast listening. And if you've got any questions for guests, any suggestions of guests you want to see on the show, please do contact us on social media. Until next time, take care of one another, and we'll see you soon.
The unbeatable official Manchester City podcast. Watch the full video version of this show via City Plus now.